All right. So as Carissa mentioned, this is a Y energy efficiency event with San Miguel Power Association and EcoAction Partners. This is brought to you by San Miguel County, EcoAction Partners, and Town of Mountain Village, as well as the Solar United Neighbors Co-op, which I'll talk about shortly, and Solar Energy International, which is who I work for. So thank you to everyone who made this possible, as well as the Wilkinson Library. We really appreciate it, as well as all y'all's time for showing up this evening and learning about some efficiency rebates for the county, and a little bit about the regional climate action planning, which Emma will talk a little more about. Okay, so this is a little bit about my organization. My name is Ellen, and I'm the program manager for Solar Forward for Solar Energy International. We train solar installers here in Paonia, and we have been training them for about 31 years now. We've trained over 82,000 folks in the solar industry, which accounts for about 10% of the world's solar workforce. So we're chugging right along, but we have bold ambitions to train about 275,000 people. So if you're interested in becoming trained in solar or just want to learn more about renewable energy, we have some free renewable energy courses as well. That's our website or our phone number for our front desk. So what we're going to go over today in the webinar, as I said, is why energy efficiency and the economic benefits of energy efficiency and some local rebates for SMPA members. I will go briefly over like power versus energy and the difference between the two and how that relates to how you're charged for energy, which your San Miguel Power Association Energy Service Executive, Phil Zimmer, can always inform you more about. We have Phil on the call to talk about your SMPA rebates for homes and businesses. EcoAction Partners will, and some community members are going to be able to share more about the SMPA rebates program and how that's benefited them. And then Emma Gerones from EcoAction will discuss updates from your regional climate action plan. I'll also go over the Uncompahgre Solar Co-op. Their representative could be here today, but I have a slide for that and can briefly answer some questions. I think we can answer questions a little bit as we go and have some time at the end as well. All right, so I first wanted to discuss, as we talk about energy efficiency and what that costs and what those rebates are going to provide for you from SMPA, I want to talk about the difference between power and energy. So we're clear on that, essentially because power is what's provided to you, but you're charged for that power over time as energy. So yes, power is the instantaneous rate of electrical consumption or generation measured in watts or kilowatts, as you might be familiar. And then that power used over time is going to be energy. So we just have a couple of equations up here just to practice that principle. So a 75-watt light bulb left on for 5 hours is going to use about 375 watt hours, right? Power over time is watt hours. And then you have a solar panel, which is power produced. So a 250 watt panel over 6 peak sun hours in a beautiful San Miguel County day is going to produce, about 1,500 watt hours or 1.5 kilowatt hours. That prefix kilo means 1,000, so 1.5 kilowatt hours produced. Okay, so now we're gonna use that information to better understand what energy costs, because you're charged a rate of kilowatt hours or by kilowatt hours used. So let's first think about it with something small, with your light bulbs, the incandescent bulb. So an 800 lumen 60 watt bulb left on for 5 hours, right? Power used over time, watt hours, is about 300 watt hours. A compact fluorescent, the same brightness, about 75 watt hours. And then you might be familiar, LEDs are pretty efficient And that 800 lumen 10 watt bulb is about 50 watt hours. So if we think about that in terms of what that's going to cost you, if we assign a dollar amount to that, first you got to get into kilowatt hours, because that's the rate you're charged, and your tier 1 rate is about 13 cents a kilowatt hour. And Phil can confirm this, but I'm pretty sure that's your residential rate in the county. So if you had 10 of these incandescent bulbs, and left them on for 5 hours, that's a whopping 39 cents. So it's not a very large amount, but let's just see what it is for an LED bulb. So it's going to come out to like about less than 7 cents. So neither of these is too much, but it is still much more efficient to have an LED bulb, and it's going to cost you a lot less. Another way to think about this, if you've ever felt like warm light bulbs, that heat is actually an inefficiency. That's energy lost as heat because it's an inefficient bulb. In general, anytime something is getting hot, that is energy lost and an inefficiency. All right, and just for reference, over a year, that incandescent will cost about $142, whereas LED is probably going to cost, sorry, not one, but 10 bulbs is about $24. And SMPA will actually pay for 50% of those replacements, or pay 50% of the cost of those replacements. So yeah, so over a year, that's quite a bit of savings if you were to switch out some or all of those bulbs. And I also think like my house is just under 1,000 square feet, and there are about 11 bulbs in my house. And so 10 is probably like a smaller space savings anyway. So you can imagine if you have a larger house, more bulbs, that's an even larger savings. So if we think about that, or now if we switch to something larger like your refrigerators, if you are building a new home and you need to install some new appliances, this is relevant. Or if you have some old appliances you need to dispose of, this is going to be relevant. So your typical refrigerator might use, these are rough estimates, are going to use about 876 kilowatt hours a year, which could cost about $114. Energy Star rated refrigerators might be about 535 kilowatt hours. So, kilowatt hours a year. And so just under $70. So it's about a $44 savings if you're upgrading to Energy Star rated appliance, this refrigerator, for example, or building and want to install some more efficient appliances. Just in general, to think about this, older refrigerator has a pass-through for water and ice dispensing. And anytime there's like a hole in the structure or the insulation, that's going to make it a lot less efficient than a refrigerator over here on the right that doesn't have a pass-through hole for that. And SMPA has a rebate for $80 on the purchase of that Energy Star rated refrigerator. And they'll even help you with the cost of disposal. So that's pretty great, pretty helpful. And just as far as these efficiencies might relate to solar PV, if you are interested in the Uncompahgre Solar Co-op. The larger the demand of a building means you're going to need, and when we say energy demand, we mean the amount of energy used on a daily basis in the household or business. More solar panels means you need more roof space to cover that, potentially a larger battery backup, depending on the system that you would like to design, or if you have like essential loads you do need backed up at your home or business. And all that's going to increase the cost of solar systems. And because your solar system is going to be sized on an annual energy usage, I kind of took a year-long approach to these bulbs. So comparing again, the incandescents with LEDs. Your incandescents might use that same example, 10 bulbs left on every day for 5 hours is going to use about 1,095 kilowatt hours. So just over 1,000 kilowatt hours over the year. And then your LEDs might use about 183 kilowatt hours. So a lot less, huge 913 kilowatt hour difference. So now let's talk about how that might relate to like solar panels in a solar installation. And so based on some rough numbers, and I'll go over how rough in a moment, if you had a 350 watt solar panel, it could produce about 565 kilowatt hours of energy for San Miguel County. And I got that using a tool called PV Watts Calculator, which was produced by the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. You can Google it, find it online, and it really helps you explore a little more about your local solar resource for wherever you live on the planet, or maybe just for the US, but I think they have it for different areas as well. And that 350 watt, so the average cost of solar in Colorado is actually about $3.50, just for reference. And the Uncompahgre Solar Co-op is about a 10% discount on that. So, if we take that 350, multiply it, or $3.50, multiply it by 350 watts of a typical solar panel, you could see about a $1,200 savings on one solar panel. That is very rough. And once again, that 350 a watt average includes your soft and hard costs for a solar installer. So it's not necessarily a wholesale cost. And so when you talk to a solar installer and they help you design your system, it's not necessarily that this $1,200 per panel, but just to give you a general idea. So even if you were to reduce your energy consumption by as much as 565 kilowatt hours, which once again, these light bulbs could assist you with, replacing these light bulbs could assist you with, it could cut quite a bit of cost off of your solar energy system. Okay, and just something I want to talk about, no matter where you kind of are in these steps, this path to net zero, SMPA can help you, as well as EcoAction Partners has tools to help you along this path to net zero, whether or not you're ready to install solar or where you are. So first step, that orange step at the top, assess and start small, get your energy, understand the energy performance of the building or space with your energy assessment from EcoAction Partners. And then you can address like low-hanging fruit, like smart thermostats for your replacing incandescents with LED bulbs. And then SMPA has rebates for that. You could tighten up the building envelope, making it nice and cozy, considering all the beautiful windows and doors we have that let amazing light into our homes on a beautiful sunny winter day. Those are those are holes in the building envelope, and if you get them sealed up and do some insulation, you're going to have a much cozier space, and EcoAction Partners can help you with that. Electrifying mechanicals, switching that gas stove over to an electric stove if feasible. SMPA can help you with that. Powering with renewables if that's appropriate for where you're at on this path. And then, of course, Uncompahgre Solar Co-op is available right now until May 1st. They're taking signups to be able to help you go solar more cheaply or more cost effectively. And then lastly, this fifth step, if you're there, is to drive change, install batteries, and potentially get an electric vehicle if that's what is feasible for you. And of course, the Uncompahgre Solar Co-op can help you with that. These are actually taken from Aspen's core program, so you can always Google that and read more about it if you're interested. I kind of like it because it's like nice and streamlined, step by step, makes it a little more simple to address than necessarily thinking that it's like this very large problem that you don't know how to approach. Becoming net zero, that is. So this is about the Uncompahgre Solar Co-op. So this is being brought to you by the town of Mountain Village and San Miguel County, and it's meant to help residents and businesses understand the solar process with events like this, as well as info sessions that they have ongoing, and we'll have more, as well as choose a solar installer together. That's part of being a co-op member. And then once you have an installer, they will offer a group discount. And it's no obligation membership, as I said, kind of wraps up signing up about May 1st to get that discounted quote with the installer. And I mentioned briefly, it's about 10% off the state average for solar, that $350 per watt. And so there are some rebates available for the town of Mountain Village. It's about $2,500 for the first 20 co-op members, and they haven't reached that yet if you're interested, and an additional $2,500 for qualifying deed restricted residents. And they also haven't reached the capacity they have for supplying those rebates. And then San Miguel County also still has rebates available for unincorporated deed restricted residents. So about a $500 rebate from the county for those unincorporated residents. If you're interested, this is Sarah Solomon's contact info for more information about the Uncompahgre Solar Co-op. She's your Western Slope Solar United Neighbors coordinator. And I'll go ahead and actually put those in the chat. So you can email Sarah if you have questions, or you can find more information at the website, the webpage for the Uncompahgre Solar Co-op. All right, and with that, I'll hand it over to Phil and stop sharing. Phil, do you need to share your screen? Do you have some stuff to share? Or are you just gonna share from your person?
That's good for you.
Sure.
First, I got to find the screen.
I feel that.
All right, can you guys see our website rebate program?
Okay, you should be able to share. Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, so this is on our webpage. You can also access this through EcoAction's website as well. And a matter of fact, if you click on these energy efficiency rebates administered by our EcoAction partners, we'd like to thank them for helping us feet on the ground with this. It'll take you to their website anyway. So I don't want to bore anybody. Here's a list of all the things, that we have rebates for: electric heat pumps, LEDs, kitchen appliances, freezers, refrigerators, whole house fans is a new one, smart thermostats, induction cooktops. Those are super cool that kind of compete with gas for those wishing to do that. Water heaters. Will help you get energy audits that you referred to earlier. Let's see, power equipment's a kind of a cool one. Electric riding mowers, lawn mowers, trimmers, snow blowers, chainsaws, leaf blowers, pruners, electric bicycles we have in here. I'm trying to figure out how to go back. I apologize. So a multitude of rebates. Here's kind of a 2022 rebates list. I'll let you guys go to the websites. We increased rebates this year for electric heat pumps. Again, here's your outdoor power equipment. We have rebates for air source heat pumps as far as water heaters. Heat pump clothes dryers receive a little over double the rebate. These things are pretty cool because We see them a lot in multifamily housing developments now that are going on. You don't have to vent them. That's how efficient they are. So rather than bore you going through everyone specifically, we'll open it up, or I'll let you go look here. We also have EV rebates, as you can see, plug-in hybrid rebates, neighborhood electric vehicle. That would be like, we actually had some people with all their like UTVs that some of them qualify for that. Forklifts, transport refrigeration units, electric bicycles, motorcycles. We have resiliency rebates, battery storage, if that interests you. We have some rebates available for that. We have all your lighting, whether that's, in your house, pole mounted for commercial businesses. Energy efficient motor rebates. We will pay up to 50% of the cost of putting a charger in your garage. So that's a short list there. And I'm going to jump back here. We also have renewable rebates. And you can find that here. So that would be your solar PV rebates, 10 cents a watt, up to 300 for residential, goes up to 1,000 for commercial. We have wind and hydro. Obviously, we don't see a lot of wind here. That's one of the reasons I love living here, is we don't have good wind potential. But anyway, we do have rebates for those as well. Another thing we have rebates for is, gotta move my deal here. We have rebates for totally green homes. So that's a new rebate where if you build an all electric home, it doesn't have gas to it. That's a $750 adder on top of all these other rebates that obviously will qualify for that new home, like your air source heat pump or your ground source heat pump or your appliances. So a laundry list of rebates. If anybody's got specific questions, we will gladly answer those. And I do want to save time to do that. So that's kind of why we'll rush through our normal programs. Does anybody have any questions on any of those? All you have to do, as you can see here, is click on the link. It'll take you to basically the specifics of that. And then right here, you can click on it and you can electronically fill your rebate out and attach your receipt and all that. Bert will go over some of that stuff with you guys as part of that presentation. I do want you to know we have rebates that will help you. The idea is to help you buy a more efficient appliance than you may otherwise purchase, and we cover the difference. And the previous presentation, I hope what you took home from that was it's way cheaper to be efficient, even with the end goal of having net zero. It's cheaper, I would argue more environmentally friendly to do that by doing your energy efficiency upgrades first and saving money and resources, buying what you absolutely need as far as solar on the roof. With that, I'll turn it back over or entertain questions.
Well, if there aren't any questions about what is covered, Burton, do you want to speak briefly about that process or the energy audits that you all help facilitate?
Sure. Yeah. So on the website, ecoactionpartners.org, that as Phil pointed out, there is an entire list of rebates that you're eligible for. And on the right-hand side and highlighted in green, if you click on any of those rebates, it brings you to a page that gives you specifics of how to qualify. And then at the top of each of the specifics list, it says click here for rebate application form. And if you do that, it's highlighted in green. When you click there, it's runs you through a fairly simple form to fill out. It's your name, it's your account number for SMPA, and a little bit about the information of the product that you've purchased. And the most important thing for this process when you're in this moment filling out this form is down at the bottom. Make sure you try to fill out as accurately as possible, of course. When you get to the bottom, there's a little red button that you're going to need to click on. It says upload itemized receipts here. This is very important. This is a specific requirement from SMPA and EcoAction Partners, as well as Tri-State. Make sure that they get documentation of your purchase. Without this documentation, we're unable to process rebates, and it causes quite a delay in getting a refund to you. So make sure that you click on that link, upload. You have an electronic version or a scanned copy of your receipt available while you're doing the form. Upload that, and everything else is pretty straightforward. It gets shot straight over to the system, and then myself or Phil goes through and verifies the information and then passes it along to get a rebate back to you as quickly as possible. It's pretty straightforward, and I am available to answer any questions in the future after you've reviewed the website. If you have any or need to understand better the opportunity that we can provide to you for purchasing energy efficient appliance or something of that nature, if you have interest in doing so, I'm available at burton@ecoactionpartners.org. That's my email address. I put it in the chat for everyone, so feel free to write me an email and ask me some specific questions, or give me a phone number and we can even have a chat whenever we're available. So let's see. So that's pretty much the information that I had for the rebates. We do home energy audits through EcoAction Partners as well, which there's a rebate available for. No cost if you qualify through EcoAction Partners. However, it's no cost to you. You can be a homeowner or a renter, which is a huge advantage. We just need permission from the actual property owner, which typically will be doing really awesome improvements to their property. So it's a rare occurrence that someone says no. Usually everyone says yes, and everyone wins. There's lower energy bills. The homeowner or property owner gets upgrades for free, and it's done fairly quickly and painlessly at your convenience. So that there's a whole program. There's information about that program as well on EcoAction's website up at the top right corner. And if you have questions about that, feel free to shoot EcoAction Partners info@ecoactionpartners.org, and we can answer those questions as well. I think that covers pretty much the bases. Is there any questions at this time that I might be able to answer for anyone? And that'll be all I have, so I'll turn it back over. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Burton. Appreciate it. Emma, are there some folks available at the library who are able to talk?
We do not. We did get a message from a community member who went through the rebate program. She wasn't able to join us today, but I can share the message she sent us for you all about this process. She had a heat pump installed at her Placerville house last summer and has been loving it all winter. I've gone through about half of the amount of firewood I usually burn each winter, and my heat pump has kept my house at a steady 60 degrees when I'm away. After purchasing my heat pump for around $7,000, I applied for the rebate from SMPA and Tri-State through EcoAction Partners and got $1,800 back. My electric bill is just about the same as it was before. So really exciting to see those huge savings, especially with heat pumps. They're really great, big efficiency change, and you can get a lot of funding back through the rebate program. So thank you to Angela for her message. Any other questions on rebate program, or we can keep moving forward?
Emma, I wanted to add, if that was okay.
Go for it.
So on that comment from the community member, it's a little misleading at the end. She kind of throws in that her bill is about the same as was before, but I just wanted to highlight that in her previous comment, she's burning about half the amount of wood that she usually would. So that is implying that she's using her heat pump twice as much as she had been using her previous heating system. So she's getting twice as much heating basically for the same amount that she was paying previously. So if no one caught that, I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, Burton. I hadn't quite caught it either. So thank you. Appreciate it. And Emma, yeah, that was very kind of her to send that in support of the program. Thank you.
Of course. Cool. We can jump into the next section. Have some slides to share. Let's see. Uh-oh. My screen went black. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let's see. Oh, it does not want to share them. It's when I press play, like in presenter view, that it's going black.
Are they able to see the screen?
Let's try that again. Or Carissa, if you could join the meeting and share from your screen might work. Sorry, folks. Yeah, that's, as long as everyone can see that, I can just click through this way. It won't let me present, but.
We can see it, Emma.
Okay, I'll just move forward like this then. Great, so I'm Emma Drona. I'm the Executive Director of EcoAction Partners. I'm going to share a little bit more about our Regional Climate Action Plan, and we'll dive into some of the efficiency information in the plan. So the plan was created by the Sneffels Energy Board. It's a regional coalition of government, utility, and citizen representatives across San Miguel and Uray counties. The board was created in 2009 to address these collaborative initiatives and help reduce our emissions across the region. So we share project information, work together on programs, apply for grants as a coalition. In 2010, the SEB created the original Sustainability Action Plan and has led this process for this Climate Action Plan. So what is a Climate Action Plan, especially on the regional level? It's a working roadmap towards our sustainability goals. So this plan covers 10 years, and yet we look at 1, 3, and 5 year goals. So looking at that short-term planning and long-term objectives. It covers 8 different sectors, 21 objectives, and 74 actions. So bigger goals, and then getting down to those specific actions that you can take. It is a high-level guiding document. It's focused on community-wide collaboration. It was created with stakeholder engagement, so talking to all of our community members, outreach, analysis, and modeling, and I will get into that a little bit more. And it's a framework to measure, plan, and reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. We really looked at target-oriented goals, making sure that we know where we are in relation to those goals. So looking at the elements of the Climate Action Plan, for each of those sectors, we have different objectives, so those big picture goals. Under that, we have actions, so the smaller projects, policies, programs that will help us achieve those goals. For each of those, we look at the greenhouse gas reduction potential on a scale of 1 to 4. And we also look at co-benefits. We recognize that there are often other benefits to these actions, so looking at promoting equity, fostering economic sustainability, looking at our local environmental quality, public health and safety, and then also building resilience across the community. We look at that timeline, as I mentioned, and then also the partners that are likely to contribute to that action. So why does any of this matter? I think it's really important to talk about climate action planning in a community, especially where much of our livelihood relies on our interactions with our shared landscape. We've already seen less yearly snowfall, wildfires are increasing in frequency and severity, and our temperatures are rising. So these effects are happening right now. And climate action planning helps not only to mitigate those risks, but as I talked about, it creates opportunity. So looking at the economic health of our community, looking at equity, looking at building health and safety. So it's really an intersectional plan that covers a lot. The plan also helps to reestablish our commitment to igniting change at a grassroots level. It's collaborative. It looks at what we can do on a local level and looking also at those bigger picture goals across the country. It helps with resilience and our long-term vision. And then it also helps our community to be more proactive so that we're not just creating programming as a reactive measure. It helps us change as issues come up and react to things before these problems become worse. So a big aspect of climate action planning starts with informed decision making. We need to understand where our emissions are coming from, what's impacting them to be able to take action to reduce them. So EcoAction Partners has been tracking our greenhouse gas emissions across the region since 2010. We recently just switched to a brand new tool to do this. It's called ICLEI's ClearPath tool. It has given us the ability to forecast our emissions, which has been a really fun new tool to look at where we're heading in the future. We're able to compare our emissions to 300 other communities across the US. So looking at what other communities are doing to address their emissions, and also just has a lot of planning resources for all of our partners. So just looking at our emissions super quickly, this is our pie chart for the region. So as you can see, that blue section here is 48% of our emissions. It's building energy use, so residential and commercial electricity and natural gas use. So it's a huge piece of the pie. And that's why we're talking about efficiency today. That helps decrease this piece. And we need to look at both existing and new construction. 29% is transportation, so that's this red portion here, vehicles and air travel. And then this last 23% is consumption-based, waste, food, materials, things along those lines. Because building energy use is such a big portion of the emissions and it's our most accurate data that we receive, we also track that separately. We did have a goal from 2010 to 2020 to decrease those emissions by 20%, and I'm excited to share that we've reached that. Yeah, very exciting, and it really shows that energy efficiency is working. The measures that we're taking, the programs that we have going are helping us see this decreasing trend. So it's great to actually see those actions working for our community. Diving into the forecasting a little bit that I mentioned, this is a business as usual forecast. So this is looking at how our emissions will grow without any local action if our tourism economy continues to grow as it has been. And it really reiterates the need for local action. As you can see, these lines here in the middle are 2030 and then 2050 state goals, and our emissions are growing way past that. So we really need to plan for this, watch our goals, and take local action. We've also created a forecast with high-level local reduction strategies, so things like beneficial electrification, looking at our rebates, looking at more efficiency, especially with that building energy use. We can affect that in our community. We have ways to make change. And so we can see a big decrease in our emissions if we are able to continue this programming, but still not quite reaching those goals. So again, we need to be more creative. We need to commit to these types of actions and do more to reach those goals that we have set for our community. So based on our emissions pie chart, we came up with these 8 sectors for our climate action plan. I will give a brief overview of each of them, but today I'm just going to dive into building energy use to focus on the efficiency side of things. But quick overview of what the 8 sectors are. So looking at community engagement and policy, we want to integrate emissions analysis into all of our decision making. We want to be talking about it when we're talking about affordable housing and all of our transportation decisions. Really looking at community buy-in to these decisions and accounting for that intersectional nature of climate action. The next is energy supply, so where our energy is coming from, how many renewables we have in our mix versus fossil fuels. This is mostly looking at tri-state and SMPA's piece of the action. Building energy use, so again, that commercial and residential piece of the pie. We'll talk more about that in a second. Transportation, so both on-road movements and then aviation. This is a tricky one because a lot of the transportation is outside of our regional boundaries. For example, the Montrose Airport, it's not within our scope, but 65% of travelers into Montrose are coming to San Miguel County. So it is really impacting our regional emissions, but there's a separation of what we have to control. Waste, looking at both reduction and then diversion, so recycling and composting opportunities. Food, again, production, transportation, storage, because with food, there's a lot outside of our region. Again, big opportunities for local production and consumption. Water is a new one to the plan. So looking at our supply, use, pumping and treatment, and then watershed health overall. And then last but not least is land, looking at land use, health, and sequestration opportunities. So diving into building energy use, again, it's almost half of our greenhouse gas emissions. So it's a big piece of the pie. Efficiency is a huge priority for us. I think Phil maybe mentioned beneficial electrification. So switching from natural gas to electricity is now beneficial in terms of reducing emissions because of how many renewables we have in our supply. So there's a big push for heat pumps, for EVs. We're really excited to see that happening across our region. Some accomplishments that I do want to point out is the SMPA Totally Green program. It's really exciting. Members can offset their electricity use. It's super simple to sign up for. A lot of our governments across the region have signed up for it, which is great. And we've also seen a huge increase in local net metered renewable systems in the last couple of years. And a lot of that is thanks to programs like the Solar Co-op.
We're on it. You're on it right now.
Exactly. So looking at our building energy use trends, just interesting to point this out really quickly. Our total electricity use has been very steady over the last decade, even though we've had ongoing growth with our economic and population and building numbers. So it's again, just showing that those efficiency programs are helping despite that ongoing growth. And the last thing I will point out here are some existing local programs that we can get involved in right now. We've talked about a lot of these already today, looking at that SMPA rebate program for both efficiency and renewables. Black Hills Energy, our natural gas provider, also has a great rebate program for efficiency there. Join the Solar Co-op. We can get you more information on that. It's very exciting, and we have till May 1st, so that deadline is coming up. EcoAction Partners has a green business program, so helping with the commercial side of weatherization, becoming more efficient, working towards your goals as a business to become more sustainable. Burton mentioned our income qualified weatherization program. So again, if you're at 80% of our local median income, totally free, we'll come in, do weatherization upgrades, insulation, all sorts of really great things, and help your home be more efficient. And then again, SMPA's Totally Green program. I have to take a second to thank everybody who's participated in creating this plan. It's been a collaborative effort from the very beginning, and we couldn't have done it without all of our partners and all of you who are here listening today. We want this plan to represent the members of our community, and hearing from all of you what your priorities are and what projects you want to get done is helping to do that. The last thing I'll say before I open it up to questions is that we do have a survey on our website about the climate action plan. I encourage you all to take it. You can give input on any or all of the sectors that you're interested in. It's at ecoactionpartners.org/survey. There's a lot more information on our website about the climate action plan. You can find the whole plan there, more background information, more stuff about the greenhouse gas inventory. So definitely go check it out, and don't hesitate to reach out to me or Burton or the info at email address if you have any questions. We're happy to chat with you about that. Cool. Any questions on the climate action plan?
You did a great job, Emma. That's why there's no questions.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it. And if there's questions about anything, efficiency, rebates, anything we covered today, I'll open it up to questions in general as well. We have about 9 minutes left, so anything else folks have?
any idea, on a new house construction, what kind of a percentage of, if we collect all the rebates, it would bring us back, like on a 3,000 square foot house, however you monitor it?
Phil, could you hear that? I might pass that one to you.
I kind of can. Question was on a 3,000 square foot house. As far as rebates, are you referring to how close would that get you to dollar wise, cost wise to building it with gas? Is that, am I hearing that right?
If we just start out all electric, like how much would the rebates bring back on a normal house? Like it sounds like it might be with the heat pumps and the PV and the electric EVs. Might get back 20,000, 30,000 bucks or something.
Yeah, obviously that depends, but let's say a 3,000 foot house or square foot house, you're probably looking at $3,000 to $5,000 rebates for heat pumps, $750 for all electric. You can get a $700 rebate for a heat pump water heater. So it could probably easily, especially with EVs and chargers, would be in the $10,000 range. Again, it just depends. But the interesting thing is, if you're building new construction, it's typically cheaper to build all electric anyway. It kind of always has been. It was just more expensive to operate, and that's with things like air source heat pumps and heat pump water heaters and dryers. That's not the case anymore. So it's a really exciting time for new construction as well as retrofits, where you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. We can have natural gas type monthly bills while we're being, environmentally friendly, and we spend less building our house. So again, the house is different, but you can expect to easily save thousands of dollars up front building an all electric house. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah.
I have a question. The kind of towards the beginning, I think it was Ellen that was talking about, just shortly after she mentioned the PV watts calculator, there was a 10% discount that she kind of breezed by, and I wasn't sure if that, what aspect that applied to. Was that for photovoltaics or something different?
So members of the Uncompahgre Solar Co-op, the rate per watt with the Uncompahgre Solar Co-op is about 10% less than the state average, which is $3.50.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So just give you a general idea, like what the discount is kind of in the ballpark of with the co-op. And Frank has his hand up. Emma, not sure if you saw that. I just wanted to put it out there.
Yeah, Frank, go ahead.
Hi, Emma. Hey, congratulations on your position with the EcoAction Partners.
Thank you.
And so I'm reaching out. I tuned in. I was had a meeting last Thursday at the Mountain Village that Bryce and the Solar Co-op was putting on, and we got into this discussion about heat pumps. And I was wondering if I know I was doing some research, and I was hoping you could share information on what brands of heat pumps or brands or models that are being used in our environment that are especially the cold climate heat pumps.
Frank, if it's okay, I'll tackle that one. As far as manufacturer goes, it's kind of a, what's your favorite? Mitsubishi for mini splits, backing up just a hair. There's ducted heat pumps where you use your existing ductwork. You can pair it with your natural gas furnace if you wanted to for, backup heat, not that you would need that, but There's ducted, and then there's what we call mini splits that are pretty popular right now, especially in the retrofit market where, you know, it's an outdoor condensing coil and then, you know, one to, let's say, 8, you know, indoor units tied to that. Excuse me. So,
Phil, if I might, maybe I should have clarified a little bit. So I'm looking at a new home construction, approximately 3,000 square feet.
okay,
And I'm trying to decide on a primary system and a secondary system based on how it'll operate in Mountain Village at 8,500 to 9,000 elevation of 8,500 to 9,000 feet. And a couple of things I ran across in the information that was provided, I think through SMPA and Consumer Reports, one of them listed that you can't necessarily allow snow buildup around the condensing unit. And I'm not looking for, I think I'm looking bigger than a mini split. I'm looking for a ducted unit or something that'll handle that size home. So trying to narrow down the conversation a little bit.
yeah,
in that
okay.
region.
So I don't think brand matters as much. What you really want to pay attention to, and I'll gladly help you, you know, offline as well. You're welcome to call me or whatever. But the important thing is to make sure that it's what we kind of refer to as cold climate. Yeah, the easiest way to do that is to make sure it has it's called an HSPF. That's heating seasonal performance factor of 10 or more. And that's going to ensure that you have a heat pump that'll work, you know, down to 13 below, let's say, versus, you know, if you just bought the cheapest one you could find online that works fabulous in Georgia, let's say, you know, it obviously would stop working here at, you know, 5 degrees outside or, you know, 17 degrees outside. So when you buy a cold climate heat pump and if it qualifies for our rebates, and I have a lot of people that will call me, text me, email me, I guess, will say, hey, this is the unit that, you know, we're looking to put in my house. Will this qualify for your rebate? And that's a really good, easy check that says, yep, that's a cold climate heat pump. You know, as long as it's sized properly, that qualifies for our rebates, and that should work fine in our environment. So again, not really manufacturer or model specific. There's, you know, hundreds of them out there. It's just making sure that you get that cold climate heat pump. And when you do, you're going to get that, you know, more efficient inverter technology and heat our houses when it's below freezing with outside air, believe it or not.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and again, feel free to call and we can get more specific. You know, I'll have a lot more questions on your house, but we can help you with that as well.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, we're coming right up on 6 o'clock here. Just want to open it up one last time. If anybody has any comments, we also are planning some future events here kind of in April and May as that, or I'm sorry, in April as that May deadline is coming up. And so we're kind of in the process of figuring out the last couple events and what we want to talk about. So if there's anybody that has any input of something that they'd like to see, if they want to meet who, you know, if they want to do something like meet about the installer or learn more about the cost efficiency or learn about just really anything that you have on your mind, please feel free to let us know so that we can try and address that and get all of your questions answered. And if we don't have anything, I think we can go ahead and wrap that up, Ellen, unless you have anything else. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah,
No worries.
thanks. Yeah, thanks for doing that quick survey, Carissa. Appreciate it. And y'all can always reach out to me, ellen@solarenergy.org, or the Uncompahgre Solar Co-op, Sarah Solomon, or of course, EcoAction Partners, if you have any more you want to learn about efficiency or solar and how we can help you access that information. All right. Well, yeah, thank you everyone over on that end for facilitating this. Appreciate it. And thank you everyone for sharing part of your evening with us.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much, everybody. All right.